But otherwise, how's everything's been going?
It's been like I keep saying like I don't want to be like blindly optimistic,
Uh-huh.
but I'm feeling good.
Okay,
And for
good.
13 days out to be feeling good is a good thing.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're like, so do you have your volume on your computer? Because I'm
Yeah.
hearing double. Okay.
Are you hearing
Can you
double?
put, yeah, can you put in your phones?
Yeah, it is. I am on just headphones. So is it still double?
Maybe. Are you playing YouTube in the background?
No, I don't have any sound in the background.
Let me see. Oh, you know what? It could be me. Let's let me see. Okay, guys, welcome, 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 welcome. We're having a little technical, and it was me. It was user error.
Okay,
I
we're good.
had
All right,
a
cool.
screen open with volume, so my bad. Welcome, Will. Welcome back to Real Talk Bougie. I'm so glad you
Thank
came back.
you.
I was
Yes.
afraid. I was like, oh my God, we're going to be on the do not pick up the call list. We're going to be on the block list, all of the
No,
things.
definitely
Okay, so
not.
now,
Like somebody asked me the other day, multiple people have asked me, like, what has been the most fun thing? What has been the highlight of the campaign? And I swear I'm not making this up. Being on last time was the most fun that I've had this
really?
entire campaign.
Oh my God.
And I think part of it is because, like, like it's personal. Like,
Uh-huh.
y'all have been watching me for all these years. I've been watching y'all for all these years. And
You're
so
our
just
favorite prosecutor.
something just like
You're our
something
favorite
about
prosecutor.
connecting finally, it's just been
That's your
great.
nickname is our favorite prosecutor. You know, our favorite prosecutor will be
Oh.
coming back to visit us. So yeah, they know exactly who that is. And they say, can you woo woo woo? That's
Yep. I do. And I've been getting that like on the campaign trail a little bit here and there too.
really okay. So
Yes.
that's code.
Yes.
That's code. So you know where that's coming from. Okay. It's
And
like
you know what's
it's
funny
like
too? Like a
society.
couple of events and stuff that I've been to, I've literally like looked around and been like, somebody is Bougie Gang out here. Like I know it for
Ah,
sure. I know it for sure. They just don't want to say it.
it's so yeah, because just to be in the room. So okay,
Hmm.
so tell us. So you say 13 days until the election. Oh my God, are you nervous?
I spent some time at the beginning of the campaign where
Mhm.
I would like think about like what's going to happen, am I going to win this, and I'll get nervous. But I've just moved to the place of like, what can I do today, and what
Mhm.
can I do tomorrow to like hit it as hard as I can, make sure that I'm doing everything that I can to win. And because look, what I know is this: we have done everything. We have done everything we can in this campaign. The numbers are looking good. The early voting
Good.
numbers are looking good. And so that's what all you can do. All you can do is the best that you can do. And if we win, and I'm feeling good, I don't want to jinx it. That's going to be amazing. If we don't, we'll deal with that on May 21st. May
Okay.
20th, I'll sleep all day and we'll deal with that on May 21st.
Okay. So when you say early numbers, can you actually see returns for early numbers, or is it like polling data? Or
Yeah,
how do
so
you, when they say early, or just the turnout for early voting?
so we can see the total turnout, and then we can see how many people have gotten a Democrat ballot, a Republican ballot, or a
Mhm.
nonpartisan ballot.
Okay.
And so obviously my race is nonpartisan, but it's on all
Mhm.
three of those ballots, no matter which one you
Right.
get.
Right.
And I can't associate with any specific political party, but based
Mhm.
on the fact that the Democrats are outperforming in a huge way compared to
Mhm.
2022, that's a good sign for us. That's definitely a
Okay.
good sign for us. And it's like something like there's like 50,000 at this compared to this point in time in 2022. I think we're on day 9 of early voting, something like that. It's like 50 or 60,000 more Democrats have voted compared to this time in 2022, and like
Okay.
30,000 fewer Republican ballots have been cast since the same time in 2022.
So
So,
what are we attributing to these numbers?
I mean, I think
What's at stake on the Georgia ballot right now? We know there's judgeships.
right.
What else is at stake in Georgia?
So
I'm
it's
in North Carolina,
interesting.
so
It's interesting. So we have primaries right now on both sides for governor, for basically everything: governor, secretary of state, attorney general, lieutenant governor, labor
So top
commissioner,
jobs, Georgia
like
top jobs. Okay.
everything. Senate, U.S. Senate primaries, and U.S. House, like congressional primary, literally everything. Everything's on the ballot. But what's interesting is that, and anybody in the chat that's in Georgia knows, y'all been seeing the ads, the Republicans are going at it. I mean, they are going for the throat. You turn on the TV and you're going to see a ton of Republican ads. The Democrats has been a little bit sleepier. And so, my campaign team, we weren't quite sure how that was going to turn out in the numbers once early voting started. We were a little bit concerned that might mean fewer Democrats show up. But it's been the opposite. And I really think that that's because of kind of same reason why I stepped up to run. It's people are tired of what's going on. People are tired of the status quo. We all see, all this crazy stuff that's happening in the world. We see the, the Voting Rights Act case that just came out last week. Our rights are being rolled back, all these things. And so I think that even though the Democratic primaries in Georgia aren't super hot right now, people are still mad and they're showing up and they want their voice to be heard. And we've been getting the word out about these judicial races too. And so people are showing up and responding to that as well. So.
Do you think people are realizing how important it is who is sitting in these seats?
I think now I'll admit that, my perspective is not completely objective because I'm in it. So I know everything that's going on, but when I go on Twitter and I go on, Threads and Instagram and everything, and just look at what people are saying, people are very engaged and very opinionated and very into it in a way that I have not seen before for Supreme Court races, and definitely not for Court of Appeals races. I mean, I don't think anybody can tell you the last contested Court of Appeals race where people knew what was going on. Who
was on that? Yeah.
So we're feeling good.
I think and I think also just people are. Oh, I didn't put the chat up. My bad. I'm sorry, guys. I feel like, I don't know if it's the true crime community or all of the, maybe it's just a perfect storm of social media, all of the things, and people having more interest in being engaged. Maybe some people are super political. Some people are more into news. Some people are into social justice. Some people want to watch legal affairs and cases. Everybody's got their own nuance. But I think when you observe the process, even like yesterday, we talked about it a little bit, what happened with Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs is a rich guy. He's a football player. He had a great legal team. And there was a case against him that seemed like, he might be in trouble. But honestly, as soon as they brought the first witness up, who was the actual complaining witness, she was the victim. I just immediately could tell, there's a problem here. When do you ever get to court? Do you ever get to trial and realize I might be in trouble with my witness? Or what do you do if your witness is horrible? You might really know something happened in your gut, this is a prosecutable case, but my witnesses are so bad. They are not credible. She may even lie. I don't you're not sure. What do you do? Do you just go ahead and just take it to the box, or do you?
Not me.
You just
not me.
Okay.
Because I think a couple things. I don't want to beat up on those prosecutors because I don't know what was happening.
This is just general. This is what would Will do?
Yeah. But I mean, I've had cases before where the case file is so strong, everything looks so good, everything on paper it's great. And then I always I kind of have a rule where before I try a case, I'm going to have spoken to each of my witnesses, the main witnesses, maybe not the tiny little witnesses. I'm going to have spoken to every witness at least once, but my main witnesses, I'm going to have spoken to at least 3 times, a full interview, go over all the facts 3 times.
The things that are putting your case together.
Yes. And
the pieces to the puzzle.
Exactly. And I'm, tuned into, is this person credible? I'm cross-examining them when I'm doing those things, seeing how they respond, confront them with things, pushing on things. And I've had situations before where in that process, I'm like, we can't do this. We can't prosecute. I had one where, and it was an unfortunate case, the facts were bad and it was a fraud case. And I think that the defendant definitely did something, but in a prior hearing, my victim had basically committed perjury. And so, you can't do any, like, that's going to come out at trial. And that's just a fact of it. And so I think, when you look
so they'll impeach your witness basically, and that doesn't look good for you as the prosecutor.
How do you got other evidence to back it, if you got the receipts on it, sometimes you can work with that. But if it's just the word, that person's word, that's got to be part of your evaluation of, can you even proceed on this case? And I've had to that case I was talking about. I ended up just dismissing it because I knew it's going to look.
And you couldn't come through with the good old plea deal or anything. It just wasn't.
I'll tell you, the way I do it is, if I feel like the case can't even be tried, I feel like ethically I can't even try to get the person to plead guilty.
Look at Will. What?
I'm gonna chuck it. If it's no good.
If it's not a good, so if it's bad facts and it's really not something.
If I'm sitting there looking at it and I'm questioning, do I even believe this witness? I'm not going to proceed. I'm just not going to proceed at all.
So what if you don't believe the witness, but you do think something something happened here, but this witness is not the witness that I can prosecute this case on? Therefore, you have to let the case go.
I mean, it just comes down to what other evidence do I have? Can I explain to the jury why something might seem like it doesn't add up? I'm trying to think of some example. I mean, there has been.
I feel like I have an example. What if you have somebody who's been around the block and they have a lot of null process and they just can't stay out of trouble, and then you're able to put something together because they've just done so much, and then you all of a sudden, how does that work when you have someone who has just, that there's stuff going on, but there just isn't enough. And then all of a sudden it's it's the day happens where it's wow.
Yeah.
This is a hell of a case now. It's just, we've got a pattern of this or a pattern of that. And now we've, what do you do with something like that?
Again, it just depends. Really, truly, what it always comes down to for me is, do I believe it? Do I believe, because I'm not going to stand up in front of a jury and advocate for something that I don't believe.
Right.
And so it's do I really believe, am I convinced beyond a reasonable doubt? And if I'm convinced beyond a reasonable doubt based on all the evidence and knowing what evidence is going to come in, what evidence is going to be suppressed or whatever, if I look at the whole picture of the evidence that I've got, that's good evidence. And if I'm convinced beyond a reasonable doubt, I'm going to go for it. If it's the right thing to do.
I can't. This woman. Did you hear about this woman in South Carolina? I think her name is it Rebecca Schwantz. You know who I'm talking about?
I don't know.
She's been arrested 16 times. She owns a boutique in South Carolina, Anderson or something. She's been arrested 16 times since the beginning of the year.
Oh my God.
And she has been frauding people on the internet. Everybody is coming for her and they're forwarding it to the Attorney General's office. When you have a situation like that, when you keep getting these fraud charges, she accepted payment online for goods and services. Goods and services never happened. She has mugshots all over South Carolina. I think her name is Rebecca Schwantz. And literally since the beginning of the year, I think it's 16 times. And she's got a little signature boutique. And now they are forwarding it to, I guess, the Attorney General's office.
Okay.
Because I guess each case by itself maybe isn't much. But I was thinking, I wonder, is that something that they could put together like a RICO? Because that might be a RICO.
And I don't know if they have RICO in South Carolina or if they do some states have it and it's not as strong as in Georgia. But one of the things that I've told victims before, when say they're the first victim and it's you're talking about where that one situation by itself might not be enough. I still tell them report it, document it, because we might get to 3 victims, 4 victims, 6 victims, and once
25 victims,
25 victims,
25 victims.
Yeah. Once it all comes together, a gap in one person's case might be filled in by the strength of the other 10 people, right?
And next thing you know, you have a pattern of activity.
Exactly.
You got a pattern of activity, and we're learning so much from you, Will. It's just we've learned a lot over the last year. Because you see, yeah, how do you feel about that? Like the general public, like people actually really being into you, like maybe not that they want to be a lawyer, but they're just like they're like into it. Like we're looking at it almost like a tennis match. Like you see kind of like, oh yeah, that's a win for whatever. Oh my God, that was a great point. That just like pushed the evidence forward, or those things, the jury's not going to like that evidence or things like that. What do you think about the general public? Like kind of, we know it's not entertainment because these are people's lives. Right. I think some people get annoyed by thinking that people feel like some of this is entertainment, but I feel like you got to you can't pick your audience.
Right.
However people are consuming it, I almost feel like we're consuming it. I think it's a good thing rather than people ignoring the legal process. People are highly engaged in what you guys are doing.
No, I think it's great because, the courtroom, like before YouTube and before, Zoom and everything, the courtrooms have always been open to the public, and people, sometimes in my career before Zoom and everything, people would sometimes just come up and watch or show up and watch, sit in court and just watch. But now it's like you can open it up to hundreds, thousands of people. And I think that's important because, the people should be checking in on what's going on to make sure that crazy stuff isn't going on. I mean, if stuff is happening behind closed doors in the dark, you hope justice is served, but you don't know. I
also think it's a good deterrent too, because people are able to relay these stories to their children or, people who they have influence with, kind of like, hey, this is what happened kind of thing, the word of mouth. I feel like it helps. I feel like it does a lot having it open and even furthermore televised. And where people where you don't actually have to always go to the courtroom. You can just get on your computer and see what happened. Because oftentimes we're inundated with all of this news and we never know how it turns out. And when it's televised, or at least open court records, you can kind of check in and see like, okay, well, what happened with that? I saw that happen. We heard a lot about it. And then it's been 2 years. Like, did this person ever go to jail? Was this person ever found innocent? What happened in the process? So I think it really is so important. And it is, I feel like it's so interesting to see that people are really super engaged. And like, we know prosecutors' names are like, oh, there's so-and-so or they're, oh yeah, this is going to be good.
Right. Well, and also too, like a couple things too, like number one, to your point, I think the deterrent effect is real. Cause I've had cases where I won't name specific ones, but people can probably use their imaginations and figure it out. But cases where, somebody's doing something that's really harmful to the community and they're doing it in a big way, and other people might be doing it at a smaller scale too, but you go big on that big person to let people know that like, we see what's going on and don't play around too much because you could be next. We could come for you next if you're doing stuff that's really harming the community. That's thing number one. And then thing number two is, people will say like, and I'm not saying the justice system always gets it right, because it definitely does not always get it right. And historically has not always gotten it right, very much so. But when you can watch what's going on and you can hear the witnesses and see the witnesses and see for yourself why the outcome was the way that it was, I think it, restores a little bit of confidence in the system that we have.
Okay, so let me ask. So someone's asking, can Nesto's case be televised? Wooten. So there was a motion for a gag order that did not make it. So there's no gag order. And Dunaway has allowed cameras in the courtroom. So what would it take for it to be televised? Would it be that case or any other? What would it take for? It would just take.
It's a rule 22, right? Yeah. And typically what happens like on the bigger cases where, 10 different organizations might want to cover it. Typically, the judge will assign one like pool camera where everybody pulls from that one feed. But yeah, I mean, all it would take is a Rule 22, and so far, Judge Dunaway has been he's always granted them. He's always granted at least one. He's not going to grant necessarily everybody's, but he's always granted at least one.
Okay. Okay, so let's get back to the election real quick, and then we'll get into some other things. So election day is what day? It's May
19th.
May 19th.
Early vote is going on right now through next Friday. So you can vote from tomorrow all the way through next Friday, or show up
if you're in Georgia. If you're in Georgia now through next Friday, exercise your right to vote.
Yes.
And then if someone goes to the poll to vote and they are not a registered Democrat or Republican, do they have to ask for a nonpartisan ticket, or will they just be offered a nonpartisan ticket?
So Georgia's interesting. We actually you don't register with any party. So you can go.
Oh, really? Okay.
You can go and when you walk in, they just ask you what ballot you want. So do you want the Democrat, the Republican, or the nonpartisan? And you can vote in whichever one you want to.
So people should know, because some people don't want to, I don't want to, and that is okay. So you have to ask, you have to say, I'd like the nonpartisan, please. Will they offer you, okay, well, here, you'll take the nonpartisan then? Do they make the choice or offer it to you? Or do you, sometimes you have to, if you don't ask, they don't give.
Yeah, I think if I recall, it used to be on a little piece of cardboard and you just checked which one you wanted. But now I think it's on the little like iPad thing. And I think you just click a box and then like, you never actually say it out loud. But
so it's in your voter thing. So when you check in at your with your person, one of the nice retired people who are usually there, you sign in, they check your ID, or they check whatever they needed to check in your state. And then they give you your little thing to go and check in at your spot.
Right.
And then you pick your ballot.
Right.
Really? Okay.
Right.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. And there's been plenty of times where people have, somebody might identify as a Democrat, but then they will vote in the Republican primary, like to vote against somebody, right? Like you really hate this candidate on the other side. You really don't want them to win. So, and you're okay with whoever on your side, but you might pull the other ballot just to vote against the person that you don't like.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me think that out. Okay, number one, we have a friend in Michigan, in Detroit, and I know that by the 313, and they're saying that their Georgia family voted for Wooten.
Thank you.
Love
Isn't that
nice? Okay, so you're saying that people will pull another party's ballot to vote against. So if you don't like the Democratic person, you might get a Republican ballot just as a vote against that person.
Yeah, like
I've
for
never
instance,
even thought to do something like that. That's absolutely
like I remember in 2024, was it 20? Yeah, in 2024, there was a big push, or it might have been in 2020. There was a big push for like some Democrats had organized for people to vote in the Republican primary to vote against Donald Trump, to vote for Nikki Haley. That was a thing. Like to switch sides for that primary to vote,
I understand. Wow.
Yeah.
It's it's a mind bender. I never really thought of that but you gotta, it's a strategy.
Yeah. It's definitely a strategy. And
and also split the votes too, because if they took votes away from him and routed votes elsewhere, and enough votes would have come through maybe on the Democratic side, it still could have it would have diluted the vote some. So yeah, interesting. It's so interesting to hear strategy. I feel like the first time I really heard strategy and got it was when we really kind of learned the Obama roadmap. That's when politics
Right.
kind of got a little bit more interesting to me, hearing about how they used analytics for the roadmap.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like, oh wow, okay. That was just a very interesting strategy that they used. And that was kind of the first time it was articulated so easy that it was kind of like wow, and they applied it and did it and won two
Right.
times.
Right.
Yeah, and then other people took it as a blueprint and have
Yep.
been
Yep.
replicating it ever since. Did you guys create a little bit of a roadmap for yourself, or what do
Oh
you?
yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Definitely. I mean, you gotta, you know, but the budget's limited, right? I mean, I've been very
Mhm.
fortunate. We've had really good backing and really good fundraising. But you're still limited, right? I mean, we're not spending $10 million or anything like that. And so you got to figure out where is the money that you raise going to do the most work for you, and
Mhm.
identify those areas. And so we definitely, on a smaller scale, had and continue to have a strategy for where we think we can reach the most voters that, my
Okay.
message will resonate with.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So how has it been being off from work? Have you had a block of time? Like, so you are working because you're running for your office.
Right, right.
But do you feel like you're on a little bit of a sabbatical right now? Or are you kind of
I'm so
like,
ready to go back to work.
you're ready to go back to work? Oh my God. Are
Because
you a workaholic?
here's the thing. At work, now not all the time, but technically my hours are 8:30 to 5. And most of the time I get out of there, when I'm doing normal work, 5 or 6, something like that.
Mhm.
Not always. Sometimes you work till midnight, but it's more predictable. When you're campaigning, you
Mhm.
wake up in campaign mode and you fall asleep in campaign mode. And so
Mhm.
it's a whole I have learned a lot in my first campaign,
Have you
because
had any challenges that you've had to, like, oh my God, there's a rumor, or they said that you did this, or have you had to come out and set the record straight? Have you had to do any kind of?
I mean, okay, so I've gotten people that have messaged me
Uh-huh.
on Facebook or made
Mhm.
comments saying
Mhm.
like some pretty bad stuff, pretty terrible stuff.
Uh-huh.
Some of them are probably bots, so whatever.
Uh-huh.
But it has been very. I mean, y'all, Bougie Gang knows, like, I like to clap back from time to time in certain things that I write and file, and it has
Okay.
been very hard not to just to push block and move on, because there's been times
Uh-huh.
where I want to be like, well, actually, let me tell you, let me set the
Right. Let me
record
drop you
straight.
a couple of receipts.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But I mean, that's all very small, small
Mhm.
potatoes. On the large scale, no. I mean, it's been pretty smooth. It's
It's
been
been
pretty smooth.
pretty okay. Now, what about you and your opponent? Do you guys ever match up? Do you guys there's no debating,
No
there's no
debating. Now,
nothing.
I was at one event and I did see another judge on the Court of Appeals. But it was fine. It was fine.
Did you get a chance to meet and shake hands, or
We
what
shook
had that
hands and
work?
it was very
Okay.
cordial.
Uh-huh.
It was very cordial and very
Yeah.
professional, and
Uh-huh.
that's about it. Just a hello, nice to meet you, how are you, kind of thing.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, interesting. All right.
Yeah.
So anything else? So we need to know you can early vote between now and Friday. After Friday, what's Friday's date? Friday
15, the
is the
15th.
15th. Then the election day is Tuesday, the 19th. And what time
Yes.
can you vote on the 19th? If you end up waiting to the last minute, what are the voting times? Like 6 to 6?
I should know that. I think the polls close at 7. I think I should know that, but I think it's a
Okay. It's
7.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, nobody should wait to the last minute.
Right,
Don't
right,
wait till the last minute.
right.
If you're going to wait to the last day, get up, go before work,
Mm-hmm.
or go at lunchtime. And it really shouldn't be too bad, even though it's a midterm election.
Right,
Midterms usually are they're not so bad. I feel like since things have gotten more automated, even
right,
presidential elections, it's not like I remember when I was a kid and I went
right,
voting with my parents, and there would be like a 2 or 3 hour line
right, right.
outside the high school. Like, you would be way into the parking lot and there would just be lines of people, and they had big, like, newspaper size sheet
Mm-hmm.
that you know that it was a mess
Yep. Yep.
back then. But I mean, it worked, but you know, this is not then. So yeah, I
Right.
feel like
Right.
it shouldn't be that bad anymore.
It shouldn't be. It
um
shouldn't be.
Okay, so you're getting lots of I'm voting for Wills. Okay, awesome.
Thank you. Thank
And
you.
it's a
Thank you.
statewide election, so anybody can. It's not, you don't just have to be in Fulton County
Right.
or in that particular district or area of the state. It's a statewide situation. Um, okay. So we did get some questions. I did drop in I'll bring those to the forefront. We have some questions. I think someone asked, let me see. I feel like someone asked, I'm going to get the gist of it, but I feel like they asked, what would you be doing if you weren't doing your current job? Do you play like guitar or something? Were you like destined to be in like
That's a good
in
question.
a band or something?
No, definitely not.
Do you write poetry?
No, definitely not that. I probably wrote a couple songs in like ninth grade.
Oh, really? Interesting. Fun fact.
I would not.
Okay.
Actually, you know what's funny? I took a poetry class in freshman year of college,
Uh-huh.
and like poured my soul into it, like really, really tapped into.
Wow.
And then there was a couple years after that, like I didn't go home for like Thanksgiving or Easter or something. And I guess it's before group chats, but somebody called, and my mom or somebody was like, yeah, like we found your poetry and the whole family read it at Thanksgiving.
Oh,
And I'm
no,
like,
how
are you
embarrassing.
serious?
Oh my God.
I know. So I would not be a poet. I would not.
Okay.
I don't know,
Someone's saying modeling?
Definitely not that. I would be so bored. I was gonna do I wanted to be a marine biologist at one point.
Oh, wow.
That was my
Okay.
dream. And you
Okay.
know what? I still have days where I'm like, man, like I could be getting paid to like play with dolphins and stuff. Like be one of the people at SeaWorld swimming around with the dolphins. That'd be nice.
So are you a science guy? Did you enjoy biology? I'm sorry, the dogs.
Oh, you're good.
Know,
yeah, no, I definitely I preferred the science stuff over like, English class. I had my Spark Notes and my Cliff Notes and all that.
Okay, so someone says, what are you looking forward to most? What are you most looking forward to once you become judge?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's a great question. Honestly, what I'm most looking forward to is getting these cases. And, I don't want trial judges to have made mistakes, but in situations where they have and somebody has gone up on appeal, setting the record straight, making it right, and explaining why. I mean, y'all know I like to write, and so being able to sit down and explain the law in a way that makes sense to regular people, because I think sometimes when judges write their opinions, you read it, and for lawyers, it's hard to understand sometimes. And I really want to make sure, once I'm there, I'm writing opinions that an everyday person can understand.
So did you participate like in law review and things like that in your is law review kind of like the peer-to-peer
It's definitely
appeals type of thing, like where they're reviewing kind of what happened, and
it's definitely the prestigious thing. And I'll tell you, like, I really struggled the first year of law school. Like, not grades, like the grades were okay and everything, but I struggled to find like, is this the right thing? Right? Is this what I like? Is this interesting? So I was very checked out. I was very checked out the first year. And so if you don't get into law review your first year, that's pretty much it. Like it's very rare to get into it after that first year. You have to apply for it the first year. And I was just not particularly involved.
And so law review basically they're just pulling random cases, however they see fit to pull cases, and they basically go top to bottom.
Yeah, what they usually do is they'll write like, it's like articles basically. They'll write an article about some legal topic. So it might be like, I mean, I'll tell you, I had thought about writing a law review article after the Trump case. I thought about writing one about the fact that the criminal code, the criminal law is not set up to deal with election tampering. and talk about how in that prosecution we had to dig into. I mean, there's a whole section of laws about election fraud, but they didn't apply to anything that happened really in the case. They're more like, handing out snacks to people waiting in line to vote, like these very kind of not what you think
that could be seen as a bribe, but not necessarily 2026 version of
exactly
or 2020 whatever current modern day problems.
So I thought about like writing an article about like what states actually have laws on the books that can adequately address these issues if something like 2020 were to happen again. So that's just one example.
So do you think that because it was so political, that the opportunities for precedent setting law, or like were the opportunities missed to create laws around this type of situation because of the political nature and all of the noise?
I think that's definitely fair to say.
Like too much noise,
right?
To be able to even create anything that if something like that were to happen again, that there actually now are laws on the books. There's still been no progress. Nobody got prosecuted, and there's no laws to address.
I mean, like, and there were laws. Like, let me like make sure I'm clear that like there were laws that we were able to use, and we were able to use them in a good, in a strong and appropriate way, but they were more like general crimes instead of specific election crimes. And so, I think you're spot on. I think the fact that things got so political that, like, in Georgia, for example, the legislature didn't want to say that crimes had happened. So there was no reason, no motivation for them to turn around and try to address the situation, which is a shame, because this stuff could happen on either side of the aisle at some point in the future. And if it happens, regardless of what side, they should be prosecuted, I think.
Right. Okay. So let's see. What will you miss about your current position once you become a judge?
Oh my gosh, that's the biggest thing.
You might miss us. Oh my God.
I mean, when you're a judge, you can't be out in the streets. You gotta be. They say that the bench is lonely, right? Because you can't. You can't speak out about political views. You can't, associate with or identify with any political side of anything. You've got to be very neutral, and you should. Judges should be very neutral. But I think it will be an adjustment, not an insurmountable adjustment, but an adjustment to move from an advocate to a judge, right? Because I spent my whole career advocating from one side or the other. But I've always tried to do, I think a prosecutor, there is some elements of being a judge, because you have to judge yourself, right? You have to judge your own facts and make sure you're doing what you believe the law is versus, trying to get your client off the hook. So I don't think it's going to be a huge adjustment, but I'll absolutely miss I love my job. I love the people that I work with. It's wonderful, but you got to sometimes move on at the high point, right? End it on a high note.
Hey, Will, I have to come to court on June 15th for an improper turn. I need you to meet me when I get there. Oh gosh, I wonder if it's like, I know Will Wooten. Will that help get her to?
No, don't do that.
I know you know everybody in the building. I need a hookup. Okay.
No, don't do that. Nobody gets an advantage.
What was the improper turn? Were you did you? What was, I wonder what the improper turn was.
I got one of those. It was a no turn sign, and
like a no turn on red or something.
And I turned anyway. Yeah.
How can they prove that we weren't on the arrow?
It was like so I have a bone to pick about this whole situation. I was an intern in Los Angeles in 2008, and I was going to Panda Express.
Good old Panda Express.
Good old Panda had to give me some orange chicken, and I was turning left into the parking lot, but there was just a big sign up there on the right side, I guess, that said no left turn, and they got me.
Did you cross over a double solid line?
I don't know. I can't remember. I do not recall.
If
I'll
it's
just
no
say
left, I would imagine it would be a double solid line. I don't
yeah.
know. I have a very random awareness of driving regulations.
Mhm,
I don't
mhm.
the person who taught me, namely my older sister, was very much like, that's a double solid line. Like she
Yeah, yeah.
just grilled me because I was like, no left turn. If it's a no left turn, it would probably be a double solid line. So
Makes
that
sense.
would be so yeah. Okay, well, and you got your ticket.
I got my ticket. My only ticket
Yeah.
I ever had. Paid
Okay.
it. It was like
Really? Okay.
$400.
So no speeding in the very,
I've
very clean as a whistle.
You want to hear it? Like, this is embarrassing. I don't even want to
You're
say this.
opening up a certain line of questioning. Well, we weren't even
Yeah.
asking you any of that, but since you opened the door, I mean, do tell.
Like, this is really lame and embarrassing. I got pulled over one time
Mhm,
for my tail light or tag light. One of them was out,
mhm.
and it was me and my two grandmas in the car. I had
Oh
taken
my
them to
god.
I had taken them to dinner, and that's when I got pulled over the one time. And then one time I got pulled over at the airport in Fort Lauderdale for speeding. I was going 20 and a 15, and I was like, yo, come on.
And did you get the ticket or they gave
No,
you a warning?
no. So it was the cop pulled me over, and I had my friend in the passenger seat because it was college. We were dropping off our other friend at the airport, and he
Mhm.
goes, I'll never forget. He goes, pick a number between 1 and 3, and I'm like, huh? Like, so I said 2, and he said, do you want 2 tickets today? And I'm like, no, sir, I don't want any tickets. And he's just like, okay, slow down. I'm like, okay, yes, sir.
Okay. So real, very mild. Okay.
Very mild,
So,
very mild.
okay. Let me ask you this. Why does it take, oh gosh, okay, this is a good one. Why does it take Fulton County so long for cases to close?
That's a great question. That's a great question. So there's a lot of factors, right? I mean, number one, I mean, let's just be real. The system doesn't have enough prosecutors, doesn't have enough defense attorneys, and
Mhm,
doesn't have enough judges. And so
mhm,
it's not, every courtroom is just so backlogged.
mhm,
Some of them less so than others. But the other thing too is that, and this makes sense. The judges typically will try the people in custody first. Now we know in certain cases that doesn't
okay.
always happen. But so that can mean if you're not in custody, sometimes it takes a lot longer for your case to make its way up
Mhm,
to be called for trial. But I mean, it's just, they move as fast as they can. And I give them credit. All the judges in Fulton County, like they're moving those cases as fast as they
mhm,
can. There's no shortage of court. I mean, they're in court all the time, but
mhm.
there's just so many cases,
It's a
so many
lot.
cases. Mhm.
Um, so why so this you may have just answered this, but why the long gap between appearances? Again, probably
Mhm.
your the
I think
answer
it
that you
just
just
it
gave.
just depends, some now I will say when I used to be in Clayton County on the south side, and my judge would do it where like basically, let's say you got indicted like January 15th. You would come in the first week of February for arraignment. So you would arraign the January cases in February. And then the December cases would come in for motions, pretrial conference, final plea, like back to back to back. So like Monday was arraignment, Tuesday was pretrial motion, or no, pretrial conference, Wednesday was motions, Thursday was final plea, and then you go to trial the next week. And so they would move
Mm,
it really, really quick. But
mhm.
just every judge does a little bit different, a little bit different.
Um, and I think so. This person also said, "Do they lack enough judges and prosecutors?" So I think you answered
Yeah,
that as
yeah.
already.
I think that's part of it.
Um, So, okay, this is a question. So I think I'm not sure if they're specific. I'm assuming they're asking maybe about Ernest Williams' case. So I'm gonna just say, when will the unindicted be? So when you have a situation where you may have an unindicted co-conspirator or a unnamed
Mhm.
individual. What does that mean? Tell us. What
No,
does that mean?
that's a great question.
Is
So
that what's that
it
person doing in the case?
yeah, like it can come up in a couple of different ways, right? Like sometimes you'll have an unindicted co-conspirator because there's just not enough, right? There's just not enough to prosecute that person. But what they did is part of the story, or maybe it's that there is enough, but it just doesn't make sense to prosecute them because what they did is so minor compared to the whole thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of situation number one. Situation number two could be like you have enough to prosecute that person, and like you will if it comes down to it, but you basically put them on the indictment, number one, to tell the story, right? To tell the full story of what happened. But number two, also to kind of let them know, you might reach out to that person or their lawyer and let them know, like, hey, I've got enough to prosecute you. So do you want to work out a deal? Or do you want me to turn around and get a superseding indictment and put you on it? So that happens too. That definitely happens too. Those are the two main reasons, though, that I would say.
When you have situations like that, or when are you driving into work like, oh yeah, today I'm getting ready to ruin a couple people's weekends. Like, do you know? I mean, you have a big circle of influence there. I mean, people are like, let me ask you this. So I'm thinking of this as I'm asking the question. Do you call the defense attorney? Do you let them know, like, you're getting ready to do a superseding or you've got additional charges? Do you make a courtesy call? Do you send an email like, hey, you might want to check your notifications, something's coming through? Or like, how does that, do you notify them or do you just let them get their alert, however they get alerts, and figure it out?
I would say in most of my cases, I let them know ahead of time. Like, I won't necessarily say like, oh, it's coming tomorrow. But most of the time I'm going to say like, hey, I've got this part. Like, for instance, I can give an example of a case. I won't name what case it was. But for instance, I had a case where some of the victims in the case, like the statute of limitations was getting kind of close. And so it was like, all right, I need to go with what I've got right now and get this indicted, knowing that I've got this other piece of it that is still coming together. So like I indicted that first part and then let the defense know, hey, we're going to supersede this. Like there's going to be a version 2 of this indictment. We're just not ready to do it yet. So just as a heads up, but I typically won't do like hey, I'm indicting them tomorrow, unless it's a situation where there's going to be another arrest warrant. Like if the person's been arrested, they bonded out, and then they're going to get arrested again because of the new charges. That in that situation, I'll usually work out with them, just to be courteous and make it, not messy. Try to work out like a time for them to turn themselves in and all that good stuff.
If you, So in any of your so when would we find out who an unindicted co-conspirator is? When will that ever come out? Will that come out in trial? Will we ever, if someone is following your current caseload and there just happens to be a unindicted co-conspirator, are we ever going to know?
That's a tough one, because it could be that, like I said, in some cases, it could be that that person gets indicted at some point. But it also could be that nobody knows until trial because, it will come out in the evidence. Or it could also be that nobody ever knows, Now,
is it in discovery?
It's in discovery. It's in discovery.
So
it is always in discovery.
Does Fulton County release discovery once someone is prosecuted?
So the way
will they release the full discovery packet? So
under the
inquiring minds can deep dive into it. People like me.
Under the Open Records Act, once a case is closed, then you can request the file, and under the Open Records, the DA's office has to turn over the case file. You redact out, certain PII.
Oh, the unindicted co-conspirator's name will be
No,
redacted.
I don't think that would be redacted.
Sharpie on it.
No. The only things that get redacted is like, social security numbers and birth dates and
we don't want that.
Nah.
We want the tea. Okay. Okay. Someone asked, I think Miss Piggy asked, if you could teach at any university, or teach law. I lost the question. Oh, there it is. I think if you could teach law at any university, where would it be?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I'm gonna be honest. Alma mater.
I went to Miami for undergrad. I would go back to Miami just so I could live in Miami.
Because it's a very outside culture there. Yep. So you want to kind of like it. I feel like it's a city where you could feel like you're on vacation all the time.
All the time.
It's got a a vibe where it's just very relaxed. It's
Yeah.
the temperature. It's just
You got to be
it's a
careful because like
tourist city.
when I lived there, it was kind of like you didn't know what, like you would lose track of what season it was because the seasons don't change like that. And so that was always kind of a weird thing. But yeah, I think there was a time where I would have been like, Harvard, I want to teach at Harvard. But now, I just turned 39 yesterday. And so I'm getting close to 40.
I had no idea. I would never. Y'all, did you guys know Will is almost 40?
Almost
wow.
40. And so as I'm getting a little more up there, I'm like, you know what? Life's got to be about enjoying your time a little bit for sure.
So someone is asking, how long do you think? And this is this is a specific question. How long do you think the trial will be? And with what's being said, what is the chance that Mr. Williams takes a plea? So let's just say in a big RICO case. Oh, did you just say you just had a birthday?
Yeah, yesterday.
Why did that go over my head? Oh my God, happy birthday. How rude.
Thank you.
Because I was like, wait a second, why am I getting happy birthdays? I think I was reading the answer as you were, so I was like, two brains. Happy birthday. So
thank you.
So did you do anything fun for your birthday?
Yeah, so I took the day off the campaign. Okay. I said I'm not doing campaign stuff today. Just went to dinner with some friends, went to had a couple drinks, drinking drinks. And then do y'all have Jenny's in Charlotte?
I don't
Jenny's
think
ice cream. It's so good.
I don't think so.
Like, oh my God.
Is it Ginny?
It's Jeni.
Jeni ice cream. Okay, I see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is so good. I have a sweet tooth. I have like a terrible sweet tooth.
I don't know if we have it in Charlotte. I'll have to. You know what? We do.
It's so good.
Ginny's Splendid ice cream.
That's the one.
We actually have 3. Go figure. One. I'm so out of the loop. Okay, I see what it looks like now. I'll have to try it out and then I'll let you know.
So get the gooey butter cake and the what is it, like brown butter almond brittle, something like that. It is delightful.
I will tell them that I was referred by a future judge. Okay. I will definitely try it. So yeah, we do have it. I just didn't know anything about it. Okay, but happy birthday. So you turned 39. So that's a big birthday for you.
Yeah, last one in the 30s.
It's okay. 40's fun. 40 I think is very cool. And also you're a guy too. And then you say you're 40. It's like a whole status. It's a thing.
I mean, I remember thinking 30, like I turned 30 in Mexico on Cinco de Mayo. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so old. And now I'm like, 30.
You're a Cinco de Mayo baby. It's Cinco okay. Okay, so did you go eat Mexican food?
No, this year, normally I do. But this year we went and got Italian food.
Okay.
It was good.
I respect that. There's nothing. Yes. Yeah, it's good. Okay, so again, everybody is saying lots and lots of happy birthdays.
Thank you.
I'm still thinking about the person who said like your alternate career would be modeling. I cannot. I try to keep like a straight face, but that was cute. Someone said you should be doing modeling. That was very cute. Okay. I feel like there's lots of Ernest Williams inquiries here. In your opinion, do you think, oh gosh, do you know who Ponytail is?
Of course.
Okay. Do you think that Ponytail should get time for taking down Nesto's Instagram page and tampering with evidence? I'm just gonna let this one rip.
I can't.
With evidence, i.e., talking to victims.
No comment on that one.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, let's keep going. Why is the indictment time so long in Atlanta? Okay, just more time constraints questions, but we know we have verified who Ponytail is. Okay, that was funny. My bad. I was really reading that as I was going along. Okay, do you have a link for Will's donations? I will drop the link to this person. I'm sorry I did not answer sooner, but somebody is asking because they want to donate money. I will get that over to them in just a minute.
And if you go to wootenforgeorgia.com, it'll take you. You'll see it. Just wootenforgeorgia.com.
Wooten for, and it's not number 4, it's FOR.
So actually all of them. You can do the number 4, the written out 4.
You bought everything.
Yeah, we got them all.
Wow. Okay. Wooten WOOTENFORGA.com,
Some of
right?
these questions in the chat.
They are so funny. It's
Too
ridiculous.
much.
They are
Too
so funny.
much.
They are like a bunch of comedians in the chat. Okay, what kind of time does he think? Okay, I get, so we have to look at this. So you're asking a potential sentence for someone who's facing crimes like this person who's in question in your comment. Let me see. I'm hitting the like button on your question right now, so you know I'm answering. We'd have to look at the statutes. We'll look at the statutes, and if we look at the statute will give us a frame of time, and we can guesstimate from that. But then, you know, in order of law, aren't I so smart? In order of law, with the most serious cases, then depending on if they are concurrent or consecutive, things like that, then we can kind of guesstimate what's going to happen. Aren't we so smart?
Yes, yes.
So yes, we'll have to look it up if you want to. But if somebody has like 75 of something, it's probable that they're facing a lot of time. It's safe to assume that the more cases more charges someone has in a case, then the opportunity for long stretches of time are there. Would that be a fair thing to say? Potentially, or if you in order of law, if they do it concurrently, then maybe not, right? It just depends.
No, I think generally the more most of the time, generally the more charges are on the indictment, the more time
one would assume. Okay. Yeah. And then when it's a complex case, complexes are serious felonies.
Yes.
Versus the non-complex.
Yes.
Okay. What kind of time? Okay, we already asked that. Based on the evidence you have in your opinion, they ask so many questions that I can't ask, because I mean, I guess we can ask, but we can't talk on any specific person's case.
Right.
So when you get back to work, what do you have to do? Let me ask you a question. So right before you went on sabbatical, let's say your current situation, there was an ask. What are the benefits of merging cases? So if you have a big case and then you have other little cases, and you're like, hey, let's merge the case, and then someone says, well, no, I don't want to merge the case. What's the benefit? Isn't there like a cost-effective benefit from merging a case? Do you think it's kind of potentially stretching out an incarcerated person's time if they don't?
I mean, I think there's, on the defense side, in any case, there's always a strategy, right? And so, without talking about any specific case, sometimes the strategy might be like, if you have separate trials, then you can, what a witness is going to say. You can impeach.
My bad. Okay, sorry about that.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
Okay.
But the other thing is, and I can't remember the specific language, but there's a standard for when you can combine multiple indictments together, and it's generally just got to be part of the same scheme or part of the same pattern of activity, or so linked up together that it just makes sense that they go together, if that makes sense.
Okay. So when you get back, how do you check your dockets to see, hey, this wasn't scheduled yet? Does that fall on the attorney who requested the hearing, or the let's have a chat about this? Like the person who requested it, is that the person who needs to follow up to make sure something gets scheduled?
Yeah, generally.
And if you notice that something's not getting scheduled, do you ever say anything about it, just so that your work log isn't getting like backed up?
Yeah, no, for sure. And especially too, because like there's certain, on the prosecution side, there's certain, on the defense side too, there's certain things that if you lose a motion, if the judge rules against you, sometimes you automatically get the right to appeal. And so I'll always want to make sure that we get it scheduled, so that if we lose, we can then appeal and get it sorted out on appeal before we go to trial.
An appeal where it goes to the appeals court?
Yes. Like, for instance, on the prosecution side, if any charges that are part of an indictment, even if the whole indictment doesn't get dismissed, if certain charges get dismissed before trial, you automatically get to appeal that up. Or if evidence gets suppressed, you automatically get to appeal that up. You don't have to do the whole asking for permission thing. You automatically have a right to appeal. So, or anytime the judge doesn't allow certain evidence in. So, like, for instance, in a certain case where I may have moved to have, evidence of other crimes admitted at trial, if the judge rules against you on a motion like that, you have the right to appeal that.
So, like when the motion for intrinsic evidence, that
now there's some timing though, where it's like if you wait and do it at the last minute, like if the judge doesn't schedule it and you don't say anything and you wait and ask for it to be heard right before trial and then you lose, then you can't use that strategically to delay things. But there's some timing requirements in there, so you got to make sure that you get it scheduled ahead of time.
I feel like there's a lot of project management.
Yes.
Is there a gap missing, or is that the judicial assistant that kind of looks over the docket to see like what's open, what's pending? Like sometimes I feel like the project manager side of my brain feels like there's a missing piece somewhere, like a non-party member who it just doesn't seem like, I don't know if the judge is really responsible for that because they're supposed to be nonpartisan, but it seems like there is a management piece of the workflow that seems to be incumbent on one side or another side that may prevent the judge's staff going as fast as it could.
Like the judge's staff, they'll have a person like a litigation manager who's managing all that stuff, but it still is ultimately the responsibility.
Some are better than others, or some are faster than others, or more on it than others. Okay, because it just doesn't. It seems like there's a missing piece somewhere. Maybe, and it does seem like some courts are faster than other courts, so maybe that's what it is. Because I'm like, is there like a project manager here? That's because it's like I cannot imagine a lawyer who has tons of cases has time to like, oh, this needs to be, they haven't scheduled this, or it's like lots of scheduling going on. Who's managing the scheduling, the calendars, the submissions? I need this back, this, and then. So the judicial assistant, or you say the litigation manager, was actually looking those things over and managing those moving parts and sending the emails or the alerts that these things need to be in, or.
But it is ultimately on the lawyer. You got to keep track of what you filed.
It's a
lot, but that's part of the job.
Do you have to be, I'm sure you're going to say this. Were you always a highly organized, highly efficient individual, or did you have to become that?
Yeah. Like if I got to stay organized or I can't keep up. So I've got like, I know it's old fashioned, but my thing is just like to-do lists. I'm always making a list of, I've got like an app on my phone that's the to-do list, and I'll just put stuff in there so I don't forget and then go in and check off what's been done. But yeah, you got to stay organized. Okay. Especially with appeal stuff, because if those deadlines for anything appeals related are very, very strict.
So we learned a few things during this past cycle of seeing some deadline situations. What about Fonnie Willis? Is she does she like Excel spreadsheets? She seems like the type where she likes lots of reports.
Oh yeah. Reports. Very much so.
What's her favorite report? What's the one that you're going to hear about?
One that is to the point. She wants the report to be efficient, to the point.
She wants it drilled down.
Tell her what's going on and move it along.
What do I need to know here?
Exactly.
Okay. So do you guys meet like weekly, monthly? How do you guys get rated in your office as an individual team? How's that work?
Each of the units, we meet with her usually about once a month or once every other month, and just give an update. These are the cases that we brought in. This is what pled out. This is what went to trial. This is what was dismissed. These are the high profile cases that you need to know what's going on. And so for us, it's pretty quick. We're in and out pretty quick usually.
So it's like a high level stand up.
Yes.
Basically.
Yes.
Okay. When do you know that a case is in trouble? Like, when is it kind of just like, I
mean, I'll tell you what, like,
or 5 reporters called me. Something's going on here.
For me, because I think partly it's because I was a defense attorney. Like, I know pretty quick. Like, I can pick up a case file, and if there's holes in it, when I read that warrant, I'm just like, wait a minute, what about this? What about that? How do we prove that? How do we know that happened? What witness is going to say this? And so, in my unit, in the white collar unit, we're very heavy on the front end. So we do our, we make sure that before we indict a case, we make sure that it is good to go. And if it's not good to go, we're going to not proceed on it.
Okay. Let's see.
And we talk to all the witnesses ahead of time. We make sure that it is what we think it is. And there's been many times where, you get that report and it sounds good. And then you get the case file and you start talking to the witnesses and it's like, wait a minute, this does not add up. Or like, one of the things that I've had happen before is like somebody will be charged and the money, like for stealing money, and then the money goes into their spouse's bank account. And sometimes the police will charge both of them. But then we look at it and we're like, well, how do we know that the spouse knew what was going on? Or how do we prove that the spouse knew what was going on? And so that's like, I would say more often than not, it's like, like maybe one defendant will get cut off of a case because we just don't feel like there's enough evidence there, that type of thing.
Is that sometimes a tactic to get the spouse to potentially just be forthcoming? I mean, sometimes some people are ready to just say, I'm sorry, I did something wrong. Or do you have that happen where it's like, look, I've
had like detectives.
I messed up. I've just, I'm sorry. Like, what can we do? Like,
I mean,
they're ready to confess. And the spouse is like, look, Janice, I need for you to, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't sure what was going on. I thought something was weird. But she's going to tell you whatever, we want to make this right type of thing. Do you have people like immediately just are like, look, we're not.
Sometimes
that was not our intent.
But I've also had sometimes where a detective is like, oh, can I charge this person and just see if that makes them spill the beans? And I'm like, no, you cannot. If you don't have the evidence, like we're not playing that game. Like if you don't have the evidence, we're not going to arrest somebody just to see if we can see what happens,
Right.
And that does happen from time. I've had to have those conversations before with detectives, not often, but a few times, and say like, we're not.
Did they use the good old under suspicion type? You're under suspicion, or you.
Yeah, or like they'll just think. I've had a couple times where a detective, to them there's probable cause, but that's as far as it goes, right? And I'm like, I want to see how is this going to play out all the way to trial, right? I mean, and so probable cause to me is not enough. I mean, it is under the law enough to arrest somebody, but to me, it's not enough to
prosecute. Okay. Let's see what kind of. Okay. What is it? Okay. What else? So I think I asked you about, so what were your thoughts? I asked you to check on the David case. What are your thoughts? I mean, it's a lot. It's a little bit, it's complicated.
It's complicated. I just have like a very high level understanding of the facts. So my is I have like not dug super deep into it. What I know, and tell me if I'm wrong, because my brain's been pulled off on campaign, like everything for the past 2 months, basically. But the allegation, right, is that he's like 21 or something like that.
He just turned 21. Yes.
And was dating like a 14-year-old girl, something like that.
I think she would have been 14 at the time of her death. But yeah, she was, let's just say there was a 6-year age gap, and he's the senior of the two. Right. So she was definitely a minor.
Right.
Yes, absolutely.
And then was her body was found in his vehicle, right?
In the front of the Tesla. Yeah, she was in the front.
Yeah, that's, I mean,
decomposed and dismembered.
horrible facts.
Right.
First of
Yeah.
all,
Yeah.
horrible
Yeah.
facts. I mean, there's a lot of questions there, right? I mean, like, that
40
doesn't just happen
terabytes
by
of
accident.
data.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I
It's
haven't seen the file, so I can't say,
mhm,
if somebody's guilty or if they're not guilty, but
mhm.
starting with that fact alone, that's a tough spot to be in on the defense side, right?
Yeah. It's not looking very good. I mean, I don't know. It's not looking very good. They said they have 40 terabytes of
Wow.
information
That's
from the Tesla, the
huge.
iCloud lot. So it's I mean, his to me, his demeanor, obviously he's not happy he's sitting in jail right now, but it definitely was giving they found everything. You know what I mean? Like, I
Mhm.
just, we want to give him the benefit of the doubt, but it
Right.
just,
Right.
where would you get 40 data terabytes of
Right.
nothing? You know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
Right.
to me, 40 terabytes is, sir, they went into all your stuff and they've
Mhm.
got lots of information to corroborate. But like I said, at the period, we know that they had a relationship,
Right.
and whether they're able to prove a case that he actually killed her, we do know that there was some sort of inappropriate relationship with lots of witnesses and interaction, text messages between them. So there was something going on. There were intimate photos that they were sharing with each
Mhm.
other. So he's already copped to not well, I'm not going to say he's copped to it, but there is some physical evidence in his personal devices and there's interaction between the two of them. So
Right.
whether he admits to it or not, there are things that he can't deny
Yeah.
that
Yeah. Yeah.
that tie him to a inappropriate relationship with this young lady that could send him to jail for a very long time. So,
Mhm.
you know, because
Yeah.
we just
Yeah.
saw that in the Jarvis Butts case, which I was talking to you about before we went live.
Right. Right.
He's now deceased, but he was adjudicated guilty in Wayne County, and he pled guilty to he had 6 different cases, so there were like 6 different victims. I'm going to just say 2 close family members. Okay. One
Wow.
young lady who was the first cousin of one of the close family members, who was also the homicide of the group of cases. So he was a really bad guy. They called him a serial sexual predator. Um, but his jail calls recently got released. I don't know if we have time to do it tonight, but I would love for you to come back and
Mhm.
do a
Mhm.
jail call reaction with
Yeah.
us from the prosecutor's standpoint of, okay, you guys are listening. Do you guys have a phone room? Like, what is the setup? Do you guys just go in a conference room and are like, look, we got 10 jail calls to listen to? How does that work? Is there a special room? Do you
That's a great
guys get a
question.
download to your computer?
So it's everybody does a little bit different. I think there
Mhm.
is
Is there popcorn involved?
sometimes. I think there is. I think there is. I think we do have like a jail call like lab. I don't ever
Oh my
use it.
God, can we
Yeah.
get a tour?
Yeah, we do have a
You guys
jail
have
call.
guests that come through? Like, can
Probably not. Probably
do
not. Probably
people
not.
come to the DA's office? Do people ever come to the DA's office to visit?
Not to tour it. Like you
Oh,
can't
okay.
get now
No. Oh my
the
God.
grand jury tours it like every 2 years
Okay.
or something like that.
Okay.
They
Okay.
inspect the office. But when I'm listening to jail calls, typically I'm either just I have it on in the background while I'm doing other stuff and I'm just kind of
Mhm.
listening while
Mhm.
or I've been slacking on the gym lately, but I will listen to them at the gym sometimes. Like if I'm really in like if it's like is good stuff and like I'm really into it and I really need to know what's going on right now. There's been times where I'm just like on the treadmill listening to the jail
Wow.
calls. Yeah.
Okay. And are you having to go back? Like, you hear something, are you going back then getting your notes and
We can make
taking
notes on
notes?
the system.
Like,
We can make notes on the system.
really?
Yeah.
So tell me about this. So the system you're listening to so is it an app?
It's like a website interface.
So you can do annotations. You can say
you can like tag them and stuff.
So a timestamp you can annotate.
Yep.
Look into this.
And then go back and search
said that.
Like whatever you annotated.
Wow. Yeah. That is so cool.
There's even like there's a program now. I've only used it once or twice, but where you can upload all the calls. It's like an AI thing. You can upload all the calls into it and it will like parse out, like it'll transcribe everything and you can search for it and it'll like identify, you know, based on the language, like you should listen to this call, you should listen to that call, to, you know, that type of thing. Now that's all new. It's very, very kind of cutting edge, but I've played around with it a little bit.
So, and when you hear that, like, what have you gotten like major leads from?
Oh yeah.
From the major
absolutely,
leads.
Absolutely. Okay. Like I'm trying to think. I mean, there's the biggest one that has come up has been like people will make an admission, maybe not a full-blown confession, but people will make admissions like, you know, for instance, like, oh, like they're gonna like, I'm trying to think of an example that I can say. Sometimes it'll be like, they shouldn't have charged me with that. And then the implication is, but they did charge me with this. And I did do it, if that makes sense. Does that make sense at all? Like sometimes you read between the lines and you can kind of pick apart what somebody says. Because most people, I think, do know that they're being recorded. So there's a little bit of talking in code and talking around things and stuff like that. But
how are people talking in code? This is what I don't understand. How are you talking in code and thinking that the experts of listening to people on jail calls are not picking up?
I mean, what I would say is
somebody is nervous
like sometimes we can't wrap our heads around why certain people commit certain crimes, right? And it's because sometimes people that are just in this constant cycle of committing crimes, like our brains just don't work the same way, right? I don't know if it's the what's the word? Like the actions and consequences thing, they don't think the consequences through. But that same type of thinking sometimes happens on the phone, right? Like they think they're going to get away with something, or they think that we're not going to know what it means or whatever. And it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense if you're thinking about something logically, but if somebody's in jail for, you know, committing 100 crimes, maybe they're not always thinking logically.
Someone's saying low IQ and narcissism.
Some narcissism for sure.
But also I do think that there's just the sheer kind of, there's 1,000 people in here. They're not listening to my calls. I think some people feel not arrogance, but just like they don't, not that they're not taking it serious either. I just think sometimes they see the volume, but then when you think about it, you have a prosecutor designated to your case. So are they listening to 1,000 people right now? Probably not, but doesn't mean that your prosecutor didn't just pull your calls. So I think they're not thinking like, for instance, I kind of want to play this, but there's so Jarvis Butts, one of his girlfriends, one of his many women, this woman says that the Detroit police came to see her, and she's just like, and they came to my door and they had a picture of my driver's license, and she's like, how did they get that? And I'm thinking to myself, you can't be serious. How did the police get a picture of they have access to all the information, girl. I mean, how did they find you? Well, he's calling you on the phone.
Right.
If they didn't know who you were, they know based on the list of people he's calling. And also they got his phone from a search, and they're already mapping the numbers of, or the places that he was on the day that the individual who is missing went missing.
Right.
So if he called or went to 6 places, those are the first 6 places that they're going to and looking at. But she's like mystified as to why they're at her house, but he's calling her actively. He's, you know what I mean? All of these things. and she's mystified. But the funny thing is that in this, so he's hearing that all of a sudden Detroit police is like knocking on a bunch of people's doors. They're coming to people's houses. They're doing searches. They're looking in closets. They're searching vehicles, all of these things. He finds out that the police just went to the shop where him and his friend work, who is also one of the last people who saw this young lady alive. And the girl tells him, yeah, they were at the shop. And he's like, how do you know? He's like, I drove past there and I saw them at the shop. There were police out there. And he's like, call them now. And she's like, you want me to call them on the phone with you? And he's like, no, and I guess she called on three-way, whatever. She got the guy on the phone. He said that the police had been there, and then she tries to call him back 2 times with the guy on the phone, and then he doesn't pick up the phone. But when they did the preliminary hearing, they actually did connect at some point, because there was a jail call where they did connect, and he tells him to go to the back seat of so-and-so's truck, and that his phone is like wrapped up in a shirt. Little did he know that the police had already gotten it. And, his friend never went to go get it. But that was a huge piece of information, because when they got his phone, they were able to map all the coordinates. They created a map of his travels everywhere in 36 hours. Yeah. And they were able to, like, that whole thing. But yeah, that's the interesting thing, I think, for a lot of us. Some of us, we just want to hear the tea and the gossip and the lies. But it is interesting to hear in all of that kind of the cover up. Right. And the subcontext of the crime. It kind of lets you in a little bit on the criminal mind, a little bit of it.
Absolutely. And then think about how
what you're working with.
And think about how, like, exactly how you receive it is exactly how somebody on the jury would receive it. So
it's so interesting. Like, it's so interesting. That's, a lot of, at least our group here, we love, like, the body cam, interrogation videos, jail calls, the warrants,
right,
all of those things. We love that. It's like, oh my God, we got something juicy.
I know. And sometimes they are so juicy. Like, sometimes,
oh my God.
And sometimes the jail calls make the whole case. I mean,
my God.
Or I can actually talk about this one because it's over. But I had a case with this guy that I prosecuted for basically threatening a bunch of women, like, to do terrible things, horrible things. And I won't even repeat what those things are. But all of the threats were on email and text message.
Wow.
But what we had was, when he was in jail, he was talking to his parents, and there was a few times that he blew up on his parents. And so even though he was not blown up on the victims, being able to, and he ultimately pled guilty. But if we had gone to trial, those jail calls, even though what he actually said didn't really matter, being able to show the jury, like, this is what this man sounds like when he is being threatening, when he is being in this way, allowing them to really hear it firsthand, like, that's just incredible evidence, much more than even these. I mean, the emails were horrible. But to hear him in his own voice say these things is just like.
Did he get a lot of jail time?
I'll just say this. I recommended, what did I recommend? I think like 15 years in prison. I mean, it was bad. And he ended up getting 2 years, which was a lot less than what I recommended. And I was a little bit surprised. But, judges do what they're going to do. And they all have different reasons. And we all advocate for our side and our position and what we think is right. But it's ultimately up to the judge. So, and that's why it's so important that we elect judges that we think are going to do, what we think they should do under the law. Just to throw in a little campaign plug there.
Right.
As well,
do you think, do you know if this person is, so did they get out? Like, are they out now? Like
No,
it's,
they're
they're
in
still
they
incarcerated.
yeah, they got transferred to the prison and we'll have to do there was an aggravated stalking charge with which I think you have to
Okay.
serve like 85% on that. And
Okay.
so they'll still have to do, a good bit of time. They've been in for just about a year
Mm.
right now. So they'll have to do another probably like 9 months, something like that.
Well, some people just can't get out of their own way, and I would hate it for another potential victim out here. But sometimes people are just going to go right back to what they know.
Right.
So hopefully no one will get hurt. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's unfortunate when you don't get the. I don't know. I feel like the judges have been coming with it lately. Um, I don't know. I haven't seen. I'm sure that there are some light sentences
Right.
happening, but I don't know. It seems like everything that ends up on YouTube, it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like they're laying the smackdowns. They're at least doing stuff that makes sense and
Mhm.
beyond. So I guess that's a good thing. I think also with the Irina's law. I don't know if that's national or not, but I know it's here in North Carolina. The girl that got stabbed on the link train,
Mhm.
with the
Oh,
guy
yeah, yeah,
Carlos
yeah.
Brown, that whole thing. Um, when I've gone downtown to court, violent offenders, they are not getting bond at all.
Right,
That's
right.
if you have a violent offense, they are not obligated to give you any bond. They're actually mandated to not.
Oh, wow.
um at this, well, with it's a law now with the violent offense, no bond. um Also, because our current president likes to shout out judges, so if someone lets someone out and someone does something, you might get a shout out in a press
Yeah,
conference
yeah.
and not the most favorable. And there are judges sometimes that don't even have all the information. So it's not always the judge's fault,
Right.
the magistrate or whoever is responsible for giving someone bond. But yeah, I feel like, you know, from what I've seen, I feel like some of the judges are more engaged in giving lengthier, weightier
Yeah,
sentences. Like, do you
yeah.
feel like that's happening?
It depends. I mean, there's definitely been times where I'm like, wow, I did not think it was going to be that severe of a sentence, and times when I'm like, wow, I thought it was going to be way harsher. So I think it's hard for me to say because I just think immediately of my cases, and so I can't be objective in the same way, um, in some sense. But um, I do think the violent stuff, people are getting pretty hefty sentences.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, okay. So white collar.
I will say, like with our white collar cases, we have generally gotten pretty appropriate sentences. I mean, there's
Okay.
only been a couple. I'm trying to think if there's even one that comes to mind where I was like, wow, I can't believe they got what they got. On the white collar stuff, our judges, we really have in Fulton County have made that a priority to make sure that we are getting the sentences that are appropriate, because historically white collar cases didn't get appropriate sentences. I mean, historically they were lighter sentences, even though, these folks can ruin someone's life just as much as a violent case. But I think the judges have been pretty good about giving appropriate sentences in our cases.
Um, so so Miss Fine's asking about the Stefan Diggs case. We talked a little bit about it before we
Mhm.
hit the go live. So you saw something about it, but you weren't really following it.
Yeah, I
Is that
saw
right?
something about like somebody commented about, I think that the prosecutor got up in the closing argument and was basically just like, look, our witness, we didn't have the best witness, but still convict, please, type of thing.
It was interesting. I think they were trying to he was asking for them to kind of not hold it against her that she wasn't, you know,
Right.
she wasn't super, I wouldn't say she wasn't cooperative, but she just, to me, she just didn't do herself any favors as a victim.
Right.
It
Right.
just
Right.
it was it just um it was hard to be able to feel anything for her. Because I feel like everybody was giving as much of a chance as possible. Um, and it was difficult. Let me
Yeah.
see. Will AI interpret? Oh gosh, will AI interpret Mushmouth's conversation? Um, so if you have somebody who has an interesting speech pattern or an interesting way of articulating themselves, is your AI capable of deciphering interesting colloquialisms? Like
Probably not.
can they
Honestly,
read
probably
between
not.
the lines?
Probably not. But like I grew up in South Carolina, so I've heard a lot of different ways of speaking, and so I know, like I can understand a lot better than AI probably.
Okay, so this is an interesting question. Is it an admission when someone says they did something, but it should be considered civil?
I would say, I mean, if they're saying I did it, I would say so. I would say so.
Because they're partying it to another aspect of the law.
Right,
But
right.
I don't know. Okay, so them saying it's civil, but we do know that things can be civil and criminal at the same
Exactly.
time. So yes, it's civil, but just because your mind doesn't connect to the fact that maybe it is civil, but it could also be criminal.
Right. I mean, maybe think of it like
So
if somebody says, like, take it to a different type of charge, right? Something like, if somebody says, like, yeah, like I shot them, but I didn't mean to kill them. Well, you just admitted that you shot them and they died. So you just admitted to murder, even if you don't realize it is murder, right?
right.
That's how I would think about that.
Or what did so when so I hate to go back to OJ because people pull that one all the time, but he was acquitted of murder, but
Mhm.
he was found liable
Right,
in the
right.
wrongful death. Um, they were able to find reason to feel to that he was involved in the murder of his wife some way.
Right,
I
right.
wasn't I was young at that point.
Mhm.
I remember it happening, but I was not following it like I would have followed it today.
Right.
But I do remember that the Browns got a settlement and are still trying to recoup those monies.
Mhm.
Um,
I think it's two things with that though. Like one is, the burden of proof is lower in a civil case, right? Criminal, you have to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. Civil, you just have to prove it, by a preponderance of the evidence. So just that it's essentially more likely than not that
mhm,
that the person killed somebody versus beyond a reasonable doubt that the person killed somebody. But also, I think part of it is, juries know. I think especially in a murder case, juries
mhm,
know that if you convict, that person's going away for the rest of their life.
mhm.
And that's going to, I think, make them a little bit more hesitant to convict in a criminal case than in a civil case where the consequence they know is just going to be money. So I
Mm.
think that, the jury's not supposed to consider that, but realistically, of course, the jury considers that.
Mhm. Do you have a favorite sports team?
Ooh. I mean, I went to the U, so it's got to be the U.
Okay.
And we hit the national championship this year. It didn't quite turn out how we wanted, but just to be there
Okay. So
was nice.
okay, and then let me see. I know that juries are to decide based on evidence, but how much does a
Mhm.
defendant's likability affect outcomes as well?
It definitely does. I mean, you can't deny that it does. I mean, there's, you know, the best example I would give, and I hate that this is the way that it is, but this is just the reality in some like SA cases. You know, defendant or juries will look at literally like physically how does the defendant look versus physically how does the victim look, and will make determinations based on that sometimes, which is just not fair, not right. They're not supposed to
Mhm.
do it, but humans do human stuff, right?
I mean, we have eyeballs. I mean,
Mhm.
I think it's almost impossible to not make judgments,
Right,
or just your brain to separate what it's finding as information. I
right,
mean, you're the jury isn't a blind jury.
right, right,
So if they really wanted people to not see and just hear the evidence, then maybe they wouldn't have them be able to see the defendant or see. So if you wanted people to not judge on appearance, I don't want to say judge on appearance, but not have the ability to take someone's appearance into account, then they should be behind. They should have some sort of a blinder on. But that's not the way our system works.
Right. And it's ultimately in any trial, if you listen to the jury instructions before the jury goes and deliberates, the judge will tell them that, the jury is the jury's job to determine credibility, and that the jury can look at anything that they want to make that determination. And so, likability certainly goes into that for sure. And that's just human nature.
I feel like that's where it comes, having a balanced jury, because I feel like women will defend, like if someone finds someone particularly attractive and they feel like that could have been a motivating factor, but that doesn't make it necessarily the woman's fault. Some people have lack of control or lack of they're unable to control their impulses, and they're just a murdering fool. There's just lots of factors at play. So I don't know. I feel like having a balanced jury of ages, different places in life, different multi-generational, different just having a full diverse panel bring in those arguments where no, we're not going to judge on that. We can't, I'm not holding someone to that we're not going to, that's not a deciding factor for me. That might be a deciding factor for you, but that's not going to be a deciding factor for me, or something like that. So I guess that's where you have to come in and you bring your experiences to the table. Because some people may be very isolated. They may, everyone doesn't have the same experiences. So I guess that's where, having a well-balanced jury comes in. Okay, so interesting question. So Dr. Pat wants to know, can you woo? That's my question. I did not ask that one. I'm sorry.
It depends on the day.
I feel like I read everything now. Someone said I missed something. Miss Piggy, thank you so much for the memberships. Thank you, everybody, for the supers. I appreciate it. I hope I got everybody. I was trying to focus. I feel like I got everybody, but if I missed someone, can you please let me know? But I think so far, I think we're caught up now. I think. Okay. And let me go back to the chat. Someone was asking something else and I missed it. So if your question got missed, please drop it again. Does circumstantial evidence hold much weight with jurors?
That's a great question. So under the law, somebody can be convicted on just circumstantial evidence if there's no other reasonable explanation for what happened, right? Like if you got to be able to prove, you got to be able to basically disprove every other possibility other than what the circumstantial evidence points to. But, I would say circumstantial evidence, like you hear it on TV and stuff as if like on like Law and Order, and they say, oh, it's just circumstantial, but circumstantial evidence is strong sometimes. It's very strong sometimes. Like, for instance, it would be like, in a murder case, like nobody saw like the defendant kill the victim, but the defendant had the victim's bloody clothes in the trunk of their car, right? I mean, that's circumstantial evidence, and they might say, oh, somebody else just planted it there, but is that a reasonable explanation? So yeah, no, I think circumstantial evidence gets a bad rap sometimes because it can be very strong evidence. It can be very strong circumstantial evidence.
Circumstantial evidence. Can you define? I mean, circumstantial evidence doesn't mean like it just came out of thin air.
Right.
It's more like theoretical evidence,
it's like,
right?
It's more like you have to explain it, explain how it
right.
fits in. Like
you were in place, this occurred,
nobody else was there,
no one else was there, we can't find the weapon.
Like maybe we don't have it on video,
hasn't been seen in a year,
right?
All accounts, but we found the person's blood in your drain,
right?
Like there's a guy, DeAndre Booker, in Macomb County, Michigan. The girl he was dating has vanished. They have not found her body. A remnant of one of her earrings was found in the drain. and blood was found in the drains. And there's video of him probably making 20 or so trips from his apartment with trash bags. He went next door to the grocery store, got a grocery cart. He was transporting things back and forth from his apartment, going to a dumpster here, going to a dumpster there. And he called his god sister to come and help him move a car that just so coincidentally happens to the young lady, belonged to the young lady who's missing, and left it over somewhere else. So, I mean, I think a lot of that is circumstantial evidence because they have a smoking gun. They don't have video of him killing her, but there's no reason why the amount of blood and the luminol test would. So that's circumstantial evidence, and they don't have a body, but she hasn't been seen. She's a mother. There's all communication has ceased. There was no reason to believe that she would take off. And they found enough physical evidence in the apartment without finding her body to know that there was cleanup and there was all these things. So I feel like circumstantial evidence is really real. It's there. Just don't have all of the pieces, but there's no other explanation for why. You're the common denominator. Like you're the whole common denominator.
Like the example that when I go to trial and I'm explaining, in the closing arguments, and I'm giving the example of what circumstantial evidence is and how you can trust it if it makes sense, is I give this example every time. It is that, all right, let's say you're at work and you're inside and your office doesn't have a window, but you're in your office and you hear these loud bangs outside, right? Like boom. And then you walk outside because it's right before lunch, and you walk outside, and when you walk outside, the ground is wet. And it has this smell this smell that happens after it rains. And there's dark clouds like over there. It's sunny over right here, but you see the dark clouds over there. Like you didn't see it rain. You weren't out, so you didn't get wet. You weren't out there, but you heard the thunder, you see the ground is wet, you see the clouds over there, that smell that it is when it rains on the asphalt. I always explain that is circumstantial evidence. It could have been that, a marching band went by and the drums were going boom, boom, boom. And it could have been that a fire truck came by and sprayed the fire hose everywhere. And it could have been that it just happens to be some clouds over there. But does that make sense? No, right? I mean, we all know when we see those things that it rained, even if we didn't actually see the rain come down. So that's the way that I always explain it to the jury.
If is an armed robbery suspect considered, or even somebody who was someone who was convicted of an armed robbery, considered dangerous, even if they didn't kill someone? That's a dangerous situation, right?
So I'm gonna give a real lawyer answer. I'm gonna give a real lawyer answer because, and this is it's something that I've always had a little bit of a bone to pick with in the law. In Georgia, armed robbery, you don't actually have to have a weapon. You just have to make the person believe that you have a weapon. So you could have a jacket on and put your hand in your pocket like this and hold your pocket up with your hand in it and make it look like you have a gun and take some stuff, and that's armed robbery, right?
So like a credible threat.
Exactly. And so that's such a lawyer answer, but like to me, that person might not be dangerous. But if they pulled the gun out and said like, give me all your money, or I actually saw a video on TikTok yesterday where a lady was robbing a convenience store, and she shot the gun like off to the side just to be like, I'll shoot if you don't give me this stuff. Like, pretty dangerous right there, I would say.
I know juries are to decide based on evidence, but how much does a defendant's... Okay, I think we asked this question. Defendant's likability affect the outcomes as well. Okay. Let me see. What does it take for a person to get... what does it take for a person to get in trouble for witness tampering? Can you tell us what witness tampering is, and when does it become problematic that you actually have to like say, hey, or have you ever had to intervene with someone who's being, I guess, either a defendant or even just a meddler?
So that's a great question, and I've charged witness tampering several times.
Okay.
And it's a very long and complicated statute. But it basically comes down to: are you intentionally using some kind of force or threat to harm somebody or to harm somebody's family or threaten their job? Like, there's a bunch of different ways you can do it, but there's specific things that you have to do. You either have to threaten them physically, threaten to hurt someone that they care about, threaten to commit a crime, threaten to hurt their, make them lose their job if they don't stop testifying or if they go to the police, if that makes sense. So it's like, it's very specific stuff. It's got to be, and they have to be intending to tamper with the witness too. It can't just be like they're doing something that might result in tampering, but they didn't.
It's some sort of coercion, right?
Some sort of coercion with the intent to prevent someone from testifying or influence their testimony or delay their testimony.
Okay, so it's not just a threat, but it's also a threat for specific outcome.
Right.
Okay, then you have to be able to prove that.
Right.
Do you go back?
Instance, I had one in that case that we were talking about where the guy that threatened all those women, one of the charges was witness tampering because he basically said, like, if you go to the police, I'm going to make it worse.
Wow. Okay. How do we decide concurrent versus consecutive? So does that fall in your, is that only a judge? The judge decides that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So generally the presumption is that a sentence is going to be concurrent. So you start out that it's going to be concurrent, but it can just be, it depends on, does the sentence, like if each of the charges only carries a year, but 1 year isn't enough to make sense for what the whole scheme was, then you might make it consecutive. Or like when I was in Tennessee, they had a law that if you were on bond for a felony and then you committed another felony while you were on bond for a felony, and you're convicted of both felonies, they have to be consecutive. That was a Tennessee law. I don't think we have that in Georgia, but that's just one example.
I wouldn't have a problem with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes sense. It makes some sense.
I mean, you would just the arrogance of committing another felony while you're out on bond. That's number one. Number two, it's two separate occurrences.
Right.
And why should you get the courtesy of a concurrent? Which that's, that would be, it's a kind of another, exactly. So, right. So I think that would be actually, look, don't get in trouble.
Ooh, right? This next question.
What's the next one?
I'm almost embarrassed.
Wait, I don't see it.
About going up against a defendant that represented themselves. Believe it or not.
Why am I not seeing that one? Have you ever? Oh, is this right here? Have you ever went up against? Oh, my bad. Have you ever went up against a defendant that represented themselves? So a pro se or pro per, right? And if ever you do, don't you have something like? I mean, I feel like you might have something on your roster right now, don't you? Don't you have someone who's defending themselves? I feel like there's someone in there that might be defending themselves.
I don't know if I do. I definitely know I have somebody that's pro se right now only because they haven't been arrested yet. And so they haven't got a lawyer yet.
Okay.
But I actually had a trial against a pro se defendant and lost, believe it or not. It was a domestic violence trial. And I'll never forget. We might've talked about this last time.
Is that
he got arrested in a Miami Dolphins jersey. And the first day of the trial, dressed out into his Miami Dolphins jersey because he was still in custody, and he represented himself, and it was domestic violence, and the jury acquitted him. And
why?
Because
I feel like
they were basically like, she keeps going back to him, so it can't be that bad, type of thing. And very unfortunate situation. And she did go back to him again after, and he was trying to tamper with her from the jail, sending her postcards from the jail saying, like, don't testify or I'm gonna hurt you, type of thing. And the jury was just like, Like, I remember one of the jurors said, it's okay, God's gonna get him. And I'm like, no, like y'all are supposed to get him. Like, if y'all knew that he did it, like, But
I feel like I saw something like that recently in McBurney's court a couple of months ago. Like within the last month, there was somebody who was tampering with a with with the complaining witness, and I don't know how it turned out though. I can't remember, but
and this was in Clayton County. The one I'm talking
yeah,
about was when I
okay.
was in Clayco.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Let's see. A defendant who represents himself has a fool for a client. Okay. Um, let's see. Okay, I feel like we've asked. If I missed something, definitely you guys go ahead and bubble it up now. So I can get, I'm sure there were some more questions. I should have done a question queue. So my bad, you guys. If there's anything else you guys have you ever had someone that impersonated a lawyer defending themselves? That would be crazy. So they had criminal charges for maybe identity theft or something like that. And then, so someone who impersonates a lawyer defending themselves, that would be interesting.
You mean like
Some sort of identity fraud.
like they didn't have a lawyer, but maybe they were filing stuff pretending it was a lawyer filing it?
I wonder, so I'm
Or you mean
wondering if
like going to,
someone who is impersonating a lawyer and they are on charges for impersonating a lawyer and then they decide to be pro se, would that not be like epic? That's
yeah,
absolutely
I've never had
like,
those facts before.
do you as the prosecutor get the opportunity to motion for someone to have a psych evaluation?
Oh yeah.
Or is that strictly the defense?
No, anyone can raise that. The defense, the prosecution, or the judge themselves can raise it on their own.
When do you think it's appropriate to throw that out there? Like when you're just like, I mean, do you hold that card dear as a process? Like, you don't throw that out all the time? Do you
No,
just
no,
kind
no,
of,
no. Very rare. Very rare. Like I'm trying to think. As a prosecutor, I've probably only done it maybe 2 or 3 times. Maybe 2 or 3 times. And it's, I can't think of like every situation that I can think of. It's been like I've gone to the defense attorney and I'm like, hey, I think we need to get your client evaluated, and they've always been like, yeah, we agree. So
why would it take you saying that though? Wouldn't they already know that somebody might be in trouble or somebody is not?
I think, the one that comes to mind, I think it was just in when we first spoke about the case, the topic just came up because I was thinking of it from the perspective of like, I want to make sure that this person is competent so that if we do go to trial and they do get convicted, they can't turn around and on appeal say that they were not competent,
Right. And also, even if someone does show signs of, some unhealthy mental health or unhealthy behavior, doesn't necessarily make them not competent to stand trial, because that's really what they're gauging is their competency. We're not trying to check everyone off as a fit and whole human. So some people do make bad decisions. Some people are very narcissistic, but they are totally able to assist in their defense and take their behind to court.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I think that's where people get the, kind of hear something and feel like, oh, well, that shouldn't be. Okay, let me ask you this. What challenges have you faced when handling highly publicized cases?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I would go to the Trump case, right? I mean, I think that's the best example. And there's a lot of challenges. I mean, that's like highly publicized to the highest level, right? But I mean, it's things like, you have to watch what you do as a person. First of all, like I can't go out to the club and act a mess, when I know that the world is watching, for one. But also, it's a challenge to, now I haven't experienced this as much because I just kind of don't care as much, but I've some other prosecutors have been on high profile cases and they go read the comments and people are critical of them and they just really have a hard time with that. But like, you got to just put your head down and do the job, right? Do what you believe is the right thing. And I think those are probably the biggest challenges, like knowing that you're in the spotlight now, and people are looking at what you're doing, and you have to act a certain way and behave a certain way, and be aware of that people are watching, right? That can be an adjustment for sure.
We've seen some prosecutors. I mean, I've seen on like the top of my head, I can think of, there was a woman, I think in New York, who, I don't know what she did. She did something, but the sheriff or the police officer called her out. Like she did something. He followed her to the house. She was walking in. I think she was actually the DA maybe for her area. And then she was trying to call the police chief or whatever. Was like, tell this guy to go home. And he's like, I can't do that. That a situation with that. Then there was another prosecutor. She may not have been the DA, but she was like a assistant DA, and was out with her husband and some friends, and she was pissy drunk, falling all over the place. I think that was like in Massachusetts.
Yeah, I think I saw that.
And she was like, I'm a DA. What are you talking about?
Right. And it's like, you can't do that.
And I think she got fired like the next day.
Right.
Just bad. Do you have any regrets about your chosen career path?
No. I mean, there are days, of course. Yeah. Days, of course, where I'm like, I'm stressed out. This is crazy. But no, I love what I do. I absolutely love what I do. Love it.
Are you familiar with the Nancy Guthrie situation, Savannah Guthrie's mom who's gone missing?
Just generally.
Why do you think it's taken so long to find Nancy Guthrie? Does he have other thoughts on that case?
I'm not sure. I mean, it's a very sad case. And the fact that, nothing has come out publicly yet is surprising, but you never know what's going on behind the scenes. Right. So I don't know. I am surprised it's taken this long, but like there's a case, for example, in Atlanta that a woman was killed in Piedmont Park a few years ago. Horrible case. She was stabbed and was walking her dog, and they killed her dog as well. It was just a terrible case. And that has not been solved, which is shocking. I mean, you think something like that in a park that's like at the heart of the city, you think people would be able that there's no
cams. They just couldn't catch it on the camera.
They have not.
What about tracking phones in the area at the time? They weren't able to pull.
I assume they did all that stuff, but I don't know. I just don't know.
What's the difference between having enough evidence to charge someone versus enough evidence to successfully convict them?
That's a great question too. So it's probable cause versus proof beyond a reasonable doubt, right? So probable cause is, you have evidence that a crime was committed and that this person probably is the one that did it, essentially, versus you have evidence that, you can go to bed at night, you can convict them and go to bed at night and know that you got it right. That's the kind of difference. One is like, oh, I think they did it. They probably did it. Versus I know for sure they did it. That's the difference in the evidence.
So, okay. And all, like, I guess in some form of receipts. So you have actual physical evidence or circumstantial evidence, versus just like a gut hunch, or we saw they saw you in that place or something.
Right.
I know that the case, that case in Piedmont Park, it was crazy.
Terrible case.
What about that case? I can't think of who, but it was the young lady who got killed in her apartment by her roommate and the boyfriend, and it's been on appeal. I guess it's an active open case. I think it's in Fulton County too, so I guess I probably can't ask you about that.
It's in I don't know.
It's a weird, it's an interesting case, but it keeps going back to the appeals court for something.
It was at the AUC, at one of the AUC schools, I think. Is that the one?
Yes, it's a college student, and the young lady was a roommate. It was a whole sordid situation. It's very sad and unfortunate.
Yeah, that one's pending, so I can't talk about
no, I get it. But do you think anything of like what's going on with Nancy? I mean, I don't know. It's possible Nancy could be deceased. I don't know. I mean, they're very close to the border. Not that it has anything to do with Mexico, but anybody could go anywhere in this country and disappear. You can go to a state park. You can go to anywhere. Sometimes I think they find dead bodies by luck.
Right.
Lately, we've heard people doing weird things like leaving people in parks and things like that, and people are walking with their good old dog, and the dogs smell everything. So I don't know. I don't know what they did with her. I mean, if Nancy is alive somewhere and they're keeping her alive and she's somewhere not with her kids, I'm sure she's not happy. Because it sounds like her happy place was with her grandchildren and her children. Um, I hope that they did not harm that woman, but she's probably deceased. They probably took her across the border or took her deeper into United States somewhere, and she's I feel really bad for her children.
Yeah, it's very sad. Very sad case.
Who did it? We don't know. It'll come up eventually. It could be 2 years from now, it could be 20 years from now. Somebody is going to happen upon her remains. Especially if her body is in the United States. If she's still alive, God bless her, and I hope that she gets home to her kids. I don't know. It is very strange.
Very strange case. Very strange case.
It's awful. I mean, you don't really get cases where they have not sort of figured it out yet. Do you guys actually solve cases in the DA's office, or are you actually pretty much getting
we definitely do
cases where it's kind of already been figured out by the detectives?
We have a cold case unit where part of what they do is they'll get a case they'll get multiple, they get these cases that are cold.
Okay.
And they try to help crack the case.
Okay.
And then, my unit, a lot of times, it's not that we get it before it's been solved, but like sometimes we'll bring in our own cases. We talked about the veneer case that, came from TikTok, sometimes the detectives will reach out to us early on and we help guide it, early on. So that does happen for sure.
Wow. Okay. So Will, what else can we do? I know you're still needing donations. You need support. You need votes.
Yes.
Word of mouth. If you're not following Will on social media, he would love some shares.
Yes.
He would love for people to repost, hit the little, it's like the recycle sign, and that kind of reshares to your audience. So shares as stories, reposts, things of that nature. Your dollars.
If people are able to make a contribution, I'll tell y'all, I guess I'll give the update on that. So, we just hit TV yesterday. So we're on broadcast TV in Atlanta and a couple other markets in Georgia. We're on the radio throughout the state of Georgia. And so everything has been paid for, except we've got to do a wire on Monday for about $28,000, which we're almost there. We've got to raise a few more $1,000 to complete that purchase. And so once we, I think we've got to raise about $5,000 more between today and Monday to be able to make that wire. And so that's it. That's our last bit. And then any money that we're raising between now and then is going to that radio. And then anything that we raise beyond that, we'll just add more and more radio to the airways between now and election day. And so, last time Bougie Gang came through. So I appreciate y'all. I mean, really, it means so much. The contributions coming not just from Georgia, but from everywhere. I mean, it's huge. And, like you said, like if folks can follow on Instagram, we're at like 880 followers, something like that. If I really want to get it up to 1,000 before election day, and just, share some of those posts, like the post, comment on them, help with the engagement, get it in the algorithm. That's the best thing that people can do for sure.
Our friend here is asking, do grand juries cover multiple cases each session since they are only held sporadically? Or do you have grand juries that sit for long periods of time?
Yeah. So the way it works is every judicial circuit, the term of the grand jury is determined by statute, right? So in some counties, the grand jury is impaneled for like 6 months, and they'll meet like once a month or once a week or whatever it is. In Fulton County, the grand jury term is 2 months long. So we get a new grand jury every 2 months, but they meet on Monday, Tuesday. We have 2 grand juries. We have one that meets on Monday and Tuesday and one that meets on Thursday and Friday. And so they're meeting 4 days a week, every week of the year. And they're usually hearing in any given day, probably between 20 and 40 cases. So they're moving a lot of cases. So 20 and 40 different cases every day, typically.
What kind of evidence? So I guess grand jury or just a actual jury, trial jury. What kinds of evidence tend to have the biggest impact with the juries?
That's, it comes in different flavors, right? I mean, definitely, obviously, if you have it on video, right, that the defendant doing whatever you're accusing them of doing, that's going to be the biggest thing. But, I would say evidence that just makes it make sense. It makes it an evidence of motive. Like, even though you don't have to necessarily prove motive under the law, juries really want to know why somebody did or why somebody would have done what you're accusing them of doing. I think that's probably the most compelling evidence outside of, if you have it on video or whatever.
I don't understand. Look, I guess for me, I don't feel like that is enough of a why, because some people just are homicidal maniacs.
Yeah, no,
some
you're
people
right.
just have a thirst to kill. Some people are just greedy and steal.
But it's always nice if you can explain why. It definitely,
if they were having financial trouble, does it make it any different? You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to steal from a bunch of people, but you needed to pay your mortgage, does that make it, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. For me, I don't need, I wouldn't, I guess maybe I'm different. I wouldn't care about the why so much, because then you're looking for an explainer. I feel like it's almost an explainer to justify the crime.
That's true.
But it's still a crime. Like, you did something wrong. What is the why? Because
that's true.
You know what I mean? She got on your nerves. Okay, does that make it better? I was mad. She talked too much, or I was sick of her. She's mean to me. She's not the wife I wanted. I want to date somebody else. I don't think anything you can say to give the reason. I don't think there's ever a why that is going to be good enough. I think it makes it solidifies, we're sending your behind. You know what I mean? I feel like it's a solidifier. Most of the time when you don't know why, they know why. But if they tell you you're going to give them a one-way ticket to LWAP, it's not going to ever be good. Some people just want to date, and they don't know how to get out of their marriage, and they
absolutely,
the why is probably going to come from a psychiatrist sitting down and saying this person has personality disorder, and they and they don't cope well, and they're a narcissist, and they're all of those things that aren't going to matter in making the decision,
right.
So let me ask you this question really quick. How long does the state keep inmates on death row? Do we even have death row in Georgia? Do you guys put people to death?
Yeah, so that the Tiffany Moss case is a horrible case. And I'll just, for those who don't know about it, because I watched a lot of that trial, and she was actually a pro se defendant. So horrible case where the defendant basically allowed her stepdaughter to starve to death. And then she placed her in a trash can and set her body on fire. A horrible case. And what had happened that led up to all this is the defendant had some stepchildren and then some biological children with the child's father. And the stepchild, who was the victim in the murder case, had gone to school and said that she was being beaten. And the defendant, I believe, was an educator and lost her license because of the allegation. And then that's when she allowed the child to starve to death. And then she represented herself at trial and didn't call any witnesses, didn't do anything. And then the jury, it was a death verdict. And so I think she did have attorneys put on the case on appeal. And I want to say, I think she's exhausted all of her appeals. I think that the appeal is done in that case, if I recall. And so, I don't know exactly like what, I don't know exactly what would keep them from setting the execution date. But, those cases have to go, like they'll be appealed to the U.S. Supreme Court and go through, lots of procedural steps before there's ever actually an execution. And so people can be on death row for decades.
He's Black but Not Bitter said, I voted for Wooten and everyone on the ballot with the name Keisha.
I love
is there anyone on the ballot named Keisha? Is it Keisha?
Yeah, Keisha Lance Bottoms and
okay.
Keisha Waits, I believe, is running for like labor commissioner or something, or insurance commissioner.
Okay. What about if there is a disgraced ex-mayor from a whole nother state all of a sudden trying to get on commission?
What could you be talking about? That I can't.
I heard there is a person that there's a situation where someone used to be a mayor somewhere, and now I guess we'll talk about it another time. Another place, another time. I was like, what's going on here? What is going on? Okay. Look, people are keeping it interesting. You can't fault people for just doing what they love and what they know. I'm just going to put it that way.
And hey, people have a right to run. Everybody has a right to run for office, and
absolutely,
it's
so funny. Okay, I feel like, gosh, Will, we have asked you a ton of questions. We did an easy 2 hours. Next time you come back, maybe after the election.
Yes.
And then we can talk some jail calls or something. Maybe there'll be something interesting, and we'll ask you for your professional prosecutorial. I'm listening in the gym with my earphones on. Tell me, or maybe I'll send it to you in advance and you can listen to it and let's me like immediately. You want to do it live?
Yeah.
Like what immediately are your actions? Okay, here, this is what I would, if I heard this is what or like Anna, can you annotate it live for us?
Yeah.
Okay, this comes through. I'm making a note for this.
Right.
And tell us why and all of the things so we can get like the prosecutor, like teach us your talent. That's what we want to know.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So Will, we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
You're just a fabulous candidate. I think, you deserve to have all the votes, in my opinion. But, at the end of the day, hopefully you're going to get just enough to handle the business. Yes. And I mean, we miss you in Fulton County. But we're not selfish. We're not selfish. No
matter what happens, I'm gonna still be around till the end of the year.
Right.
So
right.
We got that.
Do you see yourself, like, have you had any dreams of you driving to work to your new office? Have you felt it yet?
Not yet.
You might want to take a drive and like manifest going into the parking deck.
I might do that.
Your first day of work outfit, like what's your
funny is like
attire is going to be.
And when I drive to the DA's office, to the courthouse, like the Court of Appeals is just right over to the left. Like I see it every day on the way to work.
Have you ever been in the building?
I have not been in the new building. I've been in the old building, but they just moved to a new building a couple years ago, and I've not been in the new.
Do you have to have credentials to get in there, or is it open to the public?
No, it's open to the public. All the courthouses.
Do they have a cafeteria in there? You should go. You should go at the time that the other judges go to lunch, and go and get like a really obnoxious lunch, and go sit and eat and enjoy the surroundings of
We'll see.
Go just visit.
Yeah.
Go take a look. Manifest.
Yes.
What else could Will do to put himself in the mind frame of some habits? Are you going to have to develop some new habits as a judge versus what you're currently doing?
I don't think so. I mean, I think just, I'm going to have to learn where's the bathroom in the building?
Okay,
like,
okay.
What's my like office processes and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. But at the end of the day, like my job now is to follow the law, and the job on January 1st will be to follow the
Have a good
law.
night.
So I think it'll be good. It'll be good.
Okay, interesting. So yeah, we'll see you. I'll be in touch after the election. Hopefully everything turns out in your favor. We hope that you get exactly what you want.
Thank you.
And we're definitely supporting. Will you be able to come and speak to Bougie Gang? Well, before he takes his seat, probably, yes.
Yes.
Then
Absolutely.
after, I don't know how we, I guess as long as we're not talking about maybe Georgia cases, we can still be friends as long as we're not talking about Georgia cases.
Absolutely.
We could contact him about stuff that's happening like in other places. So, okay. Okay. Anything else, guys? Will for the win. Okay. Let's see. You're from the South. Do you have a choir robe in your closet?
I don't.
Did you used to sing?
I don't.
When you wake up in the morning, look in the mirror and greet yourself as Judge Will Wooten.
I'm gonna do it tomorrow.
Will you have them call you like William? Don't you have another name?
My first name is John.
John, yes. Will you have them call you JW?
Well, what I've been signing,
like, that's fancy. JW Wooten.
Ever since the Trump case, I everything is John W. Will in quotation marks.
Yeah.
Wooten. So that might be how it is. We'll see.
Yeah, like totally. Like, yeah, I'm not Will anymore. I'm
always
JW. JW or sign. Do you have a fancy signature? So when you sign your appeal documents,
John, which is weird.
Do you use blue ink? Is that the protocol for blue? Okay. Yes. Okay.
Always blue.
Okay. If we think of anything else, we'll just send you some notes. Go back to the last interview. They gave you you had the best comments. I don't know if your campaign manager read them, but you had excellent comments over there. I don't think you got any bad comments. And even if you did, it doesn't matter, but it's okay.
Thank you.
But yeah, quite a favorable read from everyone. Someone sent a gift. Is that Sassy Jewel? Thank you. Oh, someone sent me a happy Mother's Day. Thank you.
Aww.
Thank you very much. I'm excited about that. I love Mother's Day. It's always like, it's my excuse to be I'm not getting out of bed. I'm being totally lazy. I don't want to do anything. Bring me my food.
Yes, as you should.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Okay. Bougie Gang knows the appellate judge Wooten personally.
There we
go. Let me in. I'm here. Do you guys actually hear oral arguments and stuff like that?
Yes.
Or is it mostly a paperwork job?
Most cases don't have oral arguments, but there are regular oral arguments on quite a few cases. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. We're excited. We can't wait. And are the oral arguments open to the public okay. Well,
absolutely.
You never know. You might see a field trip one day when we know that you're sitting. Do you guys rotate?
So they have it there
on the oral arguments,
judges, and they break into like divisions. So there's panels of 3 judges that hear. Each case gets assigned to a panel of 3 judges, and primarily they're here in Atlanta, but sometimes the oral arguments are held in other places around the state.
Someone said, "Will, you are so handsome." Respectfully. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, I think you've got a bunch of fans here. Everyone loves our absolute favorite prosecutor in the whole world. Good luck with your election. You're going to get lots of votes. And we're going to share.
Yes.
And if it's on your heart and in your pockets and you would like to help, we'll pay for his radio spot and we can help with a couple of dollars. Feel free to do so. Sharing on your social media is free. Reminding anybody that you might know in Georgia to go and vote, however they decide to vote. We're not asking anybody to, I'm sure, Will, you're asking for their vote, but I'm not telling anyone how to vote.
I'm
Just
very
go
much
vote. It's important. Be engaged. And Will is asking for your vote.
Yes.
But definitely exercise your right in this in our democracy to turn in a ballot and vote with your heart
Yes.
and your friends. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I think we've covered everything. Will, won't he do it? Okay. Thanks, Bougie Gang, for reading my comment. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. If I missed anyone's comment, my bad, y'all. I love you guys. But you guys were highly engaged, which is a wonderful thing. But if I missed your comment, my bad. Maybe we'll come back and read some comments just in case. So if there was something that was missed, please comment it and then I'll try to get an answer for you. Okay. We have a friend that said they just donated.
Oh,
So
thank
that's
you. Thank you.
awesome. Okay.
And I'll go
Okay.
back too. Like I can go on my official campaign account. If there's comments once the video is posted, I can go through and answer them too. So just
Okay.
look out for me in the comments once it's posted too.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
you
got y'all.
guys, yeah, post it if you have a question, post and we'll respond. And I guess that's it. Will, thank you so much for joining us
Oh,
tonight.
thank you
This
for
was
having
wonderful.
me.
We love you over here. So much fun.
Appreciate
And
y'all.
anything we can do to help. If you need to come back before you want to come back before election time and you have time, you want us to another reminder, a little gentle reminder to go vote, just let us know.
I will. I'll do it.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, take care. Have a good
All
night.
right.
Okay.
Appreciate y'all. Y'all be
All
safe.
right. Okay. Bye, Will. Take
All right.
care. Okay, guys, that was so much fun. Bougie Gang is a little bit of a pack, a little bit of a political action committee. I feel like we carry, girl, y'all, we're heavy out here. Okay. I feel like we carry some influence and some weight. Don't underestimate that. But yeah, Will, good luck with everything. You're gonna do amazing, and we will be paying attention and watching and supporting in all of the things. Okay, you guys, it's been a long day for your girl. It absolutely has. I'm getting ready to go and go to bed. You guys have a wonderful evening. Thank you for coming through tonight. Thank you for all of the donations. Anything you donate to Will, thank you so much. Um, I will be gathering up what you guys sent me tonight, and I will be definitely making a donation. So I appreciate anything that you guys sent to me. I'll be flipping it right on back to Sir to help support because, he's provided us so much entertainment over the past unknowingly. We have enjoyed thoroughly his writings, his briefs, his emotions, all of the things. Um, so, I mean, absolutely. You guys, so I appreciate y'all for bubbling, for contributing to me, and I will flip that back in a contribution to Will on this evening. So I thank you guys so much for doing that. And you guys are sweet. Okay. Y'all, I'm fading fast. I'm getting tired. Another great interview. Thank you. Thank you so much. You guys are he really Will is like he's a friend to the show. It's like talking to you guys. All right, you guys. Let me see. This was so entertaining for my ride home. Friend. Oh, thank you so much, Jay Breezy. You guys are super sweet. Okay. All right, you guys. We'll talk at lunchtime tomorrow. We'll get back into and we'll finish call 5 and call 6. I really wanted Will to listen to call 6, listen to those Shannon calls. But I'm going to send it to him in prep for when he comes. Oh, he says he wants to do it cold and live. Okay. So yeah, unless there's something better than call 6 of the Jarvis Butts calls, baby, that's going to be the one that we're going to have him do live. I think it's going to be amazing to hear from a prosecutor's standpoint. When you hear a call like this, go tell us everything. What are you thinking? What are you writing? What are you prepping? What are you listing? All of the things. Okay. All right, you guys. Love you guys. Have a wonderful evening. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.